Hey, welcome back. I hope your last 2 weeks have been amazing, especially the last week. We had a lot of cool stuff going on in there. I hope you're ready to get right on into it. So grab your guitar right now, make sure we're tuned up, let's get into it. Okay, the very first chord we're going to get started with today is the E minor chord. Really easy, simple chord. We've done the E chord, and E minor chord is basically our first minor sounding chord. Minor sounding chords have a sadder sound on their own, and the major chord, or the normal chord, say E for example, has a happy sound. E minor has a sad sound. So let's have a listen to that chord now. It's an E minor. I'll do a different way of doing it. Here's an E chord, happy sound. Just by taking our first finger off, there's our E minor chord, and it's a sad sound. Just by that one note changing, and really simple to remember, the two fingers, very easy. Now, a lot of people learn this with their first and second finger, like so. First finger on the second fret of the fifth string, straight underneath, second finger on the second fret of the fourth string. All the other strings are played open. That's how a lot of people learn this. However, I'd like you to learn with your second and third finger. Now sometimes you might find I play an E minor in a different way. Doesn't matter, I'd like you to be disciplined and make sure you play with the second and third finger. Later on, when you get more confident, you can start mixing and matching how you play that chord. Very simple chord. Once again, make sure you're nice and high up on the fret when you're doing that. So not too low, nice up high there. Very simple, E minor. Cool, now E minor is written with a little m, a small m. If there's a large M next to the E, or next to the chord, that sometimes in jazz terms can signify a major chord. So it's a little M we're looking for. And in the case of what we're going to be learning, whenever you see an M, it's going to be minor. So now let's put that into a chord progression. Okay, so we're going to have the same thing going on. We're going to play the rock strum. Remember, every time, and I'll keep coming back to that, get the fingers on the strings, we'll play the rock strum. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. When you're comfortable with that, we'll get started. So, right, quite simply, 4/4, we're going to start off with our first chord, E minor. And we're going to do the E minor for 2 bars. G for 2 bars, D for 2 bars, and then A for 2 bars. Okay, so with that strumming pattern. Now, we've gone through this before, so I'm just going to strum right through as if I've done this plenty of times. And you can get the idea of how this is going to sound. So here I go from the E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 bars of E minor to G. It's quite a tricky change. To D. Then to A, 3 in a row. It'll be just there, and then back to E minor. Keeping disciplined with how you play that. To a G, which is a big leap, big change. Back to a D. And nice and easy change to an A there. So obviously I played right through that quite confidently there. And you know the steps that we went through earlier on, do the same thing. So when you're going through this and you're maybe struggling at first, strum through the first bar, and give it one strum, get your fingers ready, G. Get the fingers on for D and strum. So you get the idea for that one. And then as you get more confident, add the rest of that second bar into the chord progression and you should be fine. So remember earlier I mentioned how there was going to be an easier way of playing an E minor, or another way of playing an E minor. We're doing it with our second and third fingers. Now, once you get disciplined with that and you're used to playing it that way, have a go at playing it with your first and second fingers. So you've got 2 different variations. Now this might seem a little bit odd, however it's amazing how quickly your fingers get used to those 2 different ways of playing an E minor. And I find that sometimes I don't even know which one I'm using when I'm playing. It'll just play whatever version it seems comfortable with my hand, that is. So for this one, let's try doing it with an E minor with the first and second fingers. So do the same progression, E minor, 2 bars, into G. Now you'll find that was really simple. I'll show you why. It just so happens that E minor and G work together really well. Here's our E minor, and our first finger is on the second fret of the fifth string. Really simply, to get to a G, bring the other finger off, stay on that string though, just drag it up so it's nice and close to the fret. Keep it there though, and then your second finger can quite easily, and the rest of your fingers can quite easily go into the G position. I'll just go over that one more time. E minor, first finger nice and high, and G position. Okay, and we already know there's a shortcut to D, because we did that in our previous backing track or jam along track. And A is, for some reason, is just kind of nice and easy from a D. Then back to an E minor, which is actually really simple from an A as well, because we're just bringing those two fingers up. So there's a little tip there just to get you through that chord progression nice and easily.